Hi, I'm Dr. Deepak Chopra. I'm the founder and director of education here at the Chopra Center for Wellbeing in Carlsbad, California. I've been teaching and writing about mind-body techniques and mind-body medicine for the last 25 years. I've written about 40 books on the subject, and every day I learn from my patients as I teach them as well. There's no question that your mind affects your body, and your spirit is the source of both your body and your mind. Wherever a thought goes, a molecule goes with it. For thousands of years, Indian yogis have known that they can, through conscious intent, influence their autonomic nervous system, control their blood pressure, reduce acid secretion in the stomach, change their heart rate, change their body temperature. So yogis are known to have expertise in what we might call mind-body coordination or mind-body control. Today, one of the biggest epidemics in our society is what we call stress. Stress is an inappropriate fight-flight response. So in a threatening situation, we either run or we fight. This was all very well when we were in a primordial forest and there was a tiger who wanted to eat us up for breakfast or lunch or dinner. But today this fight-flight response is very frequently elicited quite inappropriately. You're late for work, you're in a traffic jam, your wife says something that you didn't want to hear, your children are a little rambunctious or disorderly, and off you go. The inappropriate fight-flight response is called the stress response. The stress response is responsible for all the major epidemics of our time, from cardiovascular illness, heart attacks, strokes, premature death from these illnesses, immunocompromised people who are more susceptible to infections and cancer, and of course the most devastating epidemic of our time, addictive behavior, which leads to so many other diseases, all as a result of stress. So in the last 15 to 20 years, we have seen meditation and yoga and mind-body coordination techniques and breathing techniques gain immense popularity, both for prevention of chronic illness, but also as adjunctive treatments in people who already have some kind of illness. Meditation, stress management are extremely useful in things like irritable bowel syndrome, migraine, stomach ulcers, musculoskeletal disorders, hypertension, heart disease, patients coping with cancer, etc. We have a lot of experience with that here at the Chopra Center for Wellbeing. And yet it takes time for people to learn these techniques. So it is really a matter of great joy for me and a lot of gratification that today we have technology that can help people learn these mind-body techniques much more quickly than it took in the past. What it took for people, even yogis, several months or several years to learn, today can be facilitated through technology. The technology, of course, that I'm speaking of is known as biofeedback. Biofeedback has been around for more than 30 years, but only recently has biofeedback become quite sophisticated. The two most common ways of measuring a person's stress level or how relaxed they are first the galvanic skin response. The galvanic skin response is what we measure when we do the lie detector test. So if somebody is stressed because they're telling a lie, it immediately shows up in the flow of electricity in their skin. And so it's a very good measure of whether you're internally stressed or not. And the other way to measure whether a person is stressed or relaxed is something called heart rate variability. When you are relaxed, when your body is flexible, when your consciousness is flexible, when you're spontaneous, when you're easy, then you have something called increased RR variability. The interval between each heartbeat varies because there's flexibility in consciousness and therefore flexibility in the cardiovascular response. On the other hand, if you're stressed, then because you secrete a lot of adrenaline, your heart rate does not vary from beat to beat. It becomes very fixed. It's like stressed people marching in an army. Boom, 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 at regular intervals. So a fixed RR interval is actually a measure of stress. Now it turns out that this RR variability is actually the most sensitive, one of the most sensitive ways of knowing what's happening in your mind and your emotions. So if you think of smoking a cigarette and that causes just a little surge of adrenaline, your RR variability gets quite fixed. Or if you're thinking of somebody who made a rude remark to you, or you're harboring a grievance or a resentment or some little hostility, or you haven't slept well the night before, or you're worried about what's going to happen in the office today, then that'll show up. In fact, RR variability is the most reliable sign of fetal health as well. You know, when a mother is pregnant and you measure the RR interval, if it varies in the baby's heartbeat, then you can be sure that the baby is relaxed and all right and healthy. On the other hand, if the baby is in distress, even in the womb, the RR variability diminishes and becomes fixed. These are two very good measures of what's happening in your consciousness, in your physiology, in your mind, in your emotions. Now with biofeedback, for example, this wonderful game that we're introducing to you called the Wild Divine, you can put these little electrodes, they're so simple, these sensors to put on your skin, and they sense two things: galvanic skin response, the flow of electricity and the resistance to it, and they also measure RR variability. And so here we are now, I'm wearing these sensors, they go through this wonderful instrument which then translates that into computer software on my screen, and depending on whether I'm relaxed or I'm stressed, the picture in the Wild Divine game changes. I can do magical things if I'm relaxed, through breathing techniques, through meditation, through visualization, through putting attention and intention in my body. I can influence what's happening in the video game. I can go on a mythical journey, build bridges, go across canyons, open magical doors, do all kinds of wonderful things, but I'm doing it through my mind. I'm doing it through my emotions. I'm doing it through my breathing. I'm doing it by changing the flow of energy in my body. Because ultimately our body is nothing but energy and information. Energy and information. And energy is influenced by attention. That's the component of consciousness that influences energy, because wherever you put your attention on, you increase the energy. And information is intention. Intention is the trigger for transformation. Your body, being a field of energy and information, can be influenced through attention and intention. So through this video game, you can actually do wonderful things inside your body. You can regulate your heartbeat, you can lower your blood pressure, you can change skin resistance, heart rate variability, in the future even brain waves. But what I'm seeing here is that through this video game, in a few sessions, you are becoming a yogi. You are learning that your body, your mind, your emotions, and your consciousness are one continuum. What I'm seeing here is that through this video game, in a few sessions, you are becoming a yogi. You are learning that your body, your mind, your emotions, and your consciousness are one continuum. This is a profound insight. In fact, I talk in my book, The Book of Secrets, that we're not in the world is in us. We're not in the body is in us. Ultimately, we're not even in the mind is in us. The body, the mind, the world, they happen to us as we curve back within ourselves and we create our minds, our bodies, and ultimately our experiences of the world. So, welcome to the Wild Divine, and start this journey of integration between your body, your mind, your spirit, and ultimately change your relationships through this in a nurturing manner, change your environment so it becomes nurturing to you, and change your experience of the world. But you have to start by understanding that your body and your mind and your spirit are part of one continuum, and that continuum is consciousness. In a few years, I see the possibility that a patient goes to the doctor and the doctor says to the patient, Mrs. Smith, you have irritable bowel syndrome, migraine headaches, and reflux esophagitis. I can give you a prescription for 2 or 3 kinds of pharmaceuticals. Or maybe you can play this game, the Wild Divine, and then, play the game and see what happens, and come back and see me in two weeks, and maybe Mrs. Smith doesn't need the prescription anymore. That's going to happen. As we learn to influence our brain waves, we will be able to produce states of consciousness that are such that we won't need to smoke that cigarette or drink that alcohol or take that drug. The possibilities are endless, but the journey has already begun. Try the Wild Divine. See what happens. You'll be surprised that you have immense power and immense control, immense influence to what's happening in your body. Through choices that you make, through techniques that you will learn, breathing, playing with your own energy fields, through attention and intention, relaxing, meditating, visualizing, putting attention in different parts of your body, using your intention, you will see that your body is actually not only a field of energy and information, but a bundle of consciousness. And when you experience your body as a bundle of consciousness, you'll feel immense joy, immense ecstasy, and it'll become an adventure into healing and a journey into healing. So I hope you'll take advantage of this opportunity. Give us your feedback. Tell us what your experiences are. We're already getting feedback from a lot of people who've tried it, and they say wonderful things. My headaches went away, my irritable bowel disappeared, my asthma is now under better control, I sleep better, my relationships have improved. I could go on and on. Hundreds of people have sent testimonials. It's really very remarkable, where modern technology and ancient wisdom coming together are making us more than mere technicians, but real healers. Thank you.